Hello and welcome to Supercharged, podcast where we give you all the gaming news that you need to know every week, featuring myself, Noan Zaldula, and Lane Humanak. How's it going, Lane?
Going good. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Last week was after we recorded last week, I went hunting, and that was the first time I've been hunting, so that was interesting. Played a game of pool with a Super Bowl star, which was even crazier. So I don't know. Week just started off weird, and then I worked all week, which normally I don't do that. I don't work 5 days in a row because I'm just part-time. But yeah,
you got to get that Christmas money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, gifts are expensive. So, what about you? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. Played too much Apex as always, and had a pretty good time though. Watched Spider-Man: No Way Home, and no spoilers, but I loved it. So good.
You think it's the best Spider-Man movie up to date, or?
Probably not, but it does do a lot of things that I like in a Spider-Man movie, and I think it's probably like my top 3 or 4 Spider-Man movies easily.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. It's a fair judgment. Speaking of what we've been doing the past week, and stuff we've done all our life, I had a question for you. If your life was a video game, what genre of game would it be, and why?
My life was a video game. I've been playing a lot of Clash of Clans. And
yeah, that doesn't sound good.
I think it'd be like an idle clicker, or like like a game like Clash of Clans where you just sort of build something and you wait. And it would be like go to college, and it would take 4 years to complete, and then become ALGS level Apex player, and it would take 6 years complete. No, like 2 years, maybe. We'll get there. Sit down and binge watch Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. It would take 2 weeks to complete. Things like that. And then maybe also there's like a text-based adventure minigame, where it's just like you get to do some of the day-to-day stuff and all that. And it wouldn't be a very fun game. I would probably not play that game.
Well, I think you're giving yourself not as much credit as you deserve. Well, I don't know, it sounds like an interesting game to me, at least.
Well, tell me about yours. Tell me about which.
As far as like genres go, mine would be like, it'd probably be like a survival game, just like living life every day, and I think it would be like, it would have Scott Pilgrim versus the World vibes, just because I'm so fucking awkward. So it'd definitely be like that, but also up until I was 18, it would be like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and then High School Musical, because I was definitely all into singing. I did choir pretty much all of my life. Went to state my senior year, so there's that. And then I was also playing football and basketball, so it was just kind of hard to time management, all that. So
yeah.
And then I think it would, from 18 until now, it'd just be a tower defense game of how many fucking Karens I deal with at work.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
The Karens are coming, and then you just have to...
you just gotta, you can speak to my manager. I don't know what else to tell you.
That's good.
But yeah, I think that would be my game up until now.
Yeah, so it's like a survival game, and then with like a visual novel type
Yeah.
vibe in high school.
It would be like a Walmart generic version of It Takes Two, just It Takes One to be. I don't know. Right. So many different genres going into it.
Well, I think we should get into the news. Why y'all come here every week, and that's what we love to talk to y'all about, even when the news isn't maybe the best. So let's get into it. Get the worst stuff out of the way.
I think they come for our podcast for our beautiful personalities and our voices and our rugged looks.
That's right. Our rugged good looks, our charm.
Yeah.
So Bungie is still in the news, and I think they're probably going to be in the news for a while until they sort these things out. But the latest stuff that we did not get to last week, I don't know if the Mylan Games video was out last week, but
I think
uh,
it wasn't, because
okay,
when you brought it up to my attention the other day, I think
right,
it had only been out for a day or two at that point. So
right, yeah. So
shortly after our last episode.
shortly after, two big developments happened. First, Mylan Games uh, published his YouTube video where he talks about, and Mylan Games, just for anyone who doesn't know, he's a sort of lore master on YouTube that talks about Destiny 2 lore. And he's done so since Destiny 1, I think. Um, and Bungie brought him on to work on their lore anthologies, which sold really well because of his work, probably. And he was originally his title was the lore curator, and that means that he went through every piece of lore, decided which how to organize the lore into these books. And originally it was supposed to be one book, but he decided it should be three. Now it's four, but he wrote three. He worked on three, rather. And basically he just confirmed everything that was happening in that IGN article. Not that it needed to be confirmed, but usually when you have an outside source, it's like, okay, well now there's an example from someone outside who saw the company culture, what it was like inside. And so he basically said that he had his work questioned. The old guard of Bungie was brought out on him because they were like, well, we've been here since Destiny 1. We have a vision for this, and if you ruin our vision, that's going to be bad, so let us help. And he had the sort of ethical code of, we're a team here at Bungie, weaponized against him to discredit his work. And it really sucks. And yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Lane?
Yeah, I definitely think it's messed up. From what I've gathered, he's, what was his role called again? The lore curator, right?
Yeah, that was his original title.
So he basically went through, did all this work by himself. And, well, I say by himself. He could have had some help from people, but he did the majority of the work. And then he had Bungie come in and say, well, yeah, no, we're not about all that. We need to show that we're a team doing this. And it'd be like if you and I, like, we just started this podcast, if we did 50 episodes or something like that in the future, and then someone came in and was like, yeah, no, I was a part of it, even though they were just recently a part of it, which would be like, no, you weren't.
Yeah.
We've been here the whole time. So I definitely think that, I don't know, it's definitely strange. I will say, as far as Bungie's part goes, like, for them to say, like, hey, we had a vision for this game and we've been here since Destiny 1, that's fair. I can see them saying that. But to just go through and, change someone's work, or say, like, oh, well, he didn't contribute to all this work, someone else did, or just even last minute changes, is just like, going back to what I said last week, it's just, you don't do that. You don't do that to someone's hard work and their effort. And it doesn't look well on the company.
Yeah, I think it's important to, like, say, yeah, okay, we have a vision for this, but he was working closely with the narrative team, and then in the last week before this book was supposed to go to press, a new guy was added to the to work on the project, and he was someone who had been at Bungie since Destiny 1, and he was like, I have all these ideas, and this is why your stuff is bad. And then the next week, his title was changed from lore curator to lore consultant, which made it sound like he didn't do anything. And the new guy was given the title lore curator, and that's why it's like really bad. But Mylan sort of like acknowledges, like, I'm just a guy who is a contractor on the outside, and like I'm a white male and all this other stuff, so I can't even imagine like what all these women have gone through. And like I totally saw like the mentality that they take to people who sort of speak up against Bungie's like corporate leadership and higher ups. So yeah, that's crazy. And then moving on from that, Rebecca Valentine, who reported on the first Bungie story last week, she has another story about Bungie's head of HR, Gail DeHaan, stepping down. Not sure if I got her name right, from her role at the company after more than 14 years. And basically, the article reads, quote, In an email circulated to employees today, which IGN has seen in full, DeHaan reflected on her time at the company, saying she wants to do everything in my power to make sure everyone who works here has a safe, welcoming, and supportive environment. She then cited the need for the company's people team to move forward with membership largely comprised of people new to Bungie. End quote. The story also talks about how DeHaan herself had to fire one of her abusers who she considered a friend before. And it's still unclear whether DeHaan is staying at Bungie, just not as the head of HR. But I think this is a move that can be seen as good, but also sort of like, all right, we got to start culling the people at the top so that we can look like we're doing something. What about you? What are you thinking?
I honestly, as far as like her stepping down goes, I don't know if it was something she chose for herself after being there for more than 14 years. I haven't heard anything if it's like, you never know. It could be something health related or family related. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe she just made the choice for herself, but it could also be that Bungie's, like you said, trying to make it seem like they're calling the people at the top that they're trying to change. And if all this stuff has been going on, and she's been at that top position she's been with the company for more than 14 years, but how long has she been at the top of HR, do you know?
I have no idea. I don't know if she's been there for more than 14 years or she's had that position for more than 14 years. It's not really clear in the article.
Gotcha. Either way, it could be they're forcing her to step down to show like you've been in this position for this long and this stuff is going on, so we need to show the public something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's hard to like be balanced about it because
I think we just need to wait for more information before, really setting our minds to what happened or even saying like what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she needs to come out and she needs to say more. And I think we need to question Bungie more on why she was stepping down.
Yeah, I think like it's supposed to be a signal of like, oh, they're changing and they're having the newer people at Bungie step up. But until we see those newer people at Bungie step up, there's not like a reason to celebrate that yet. Yeah.
I don't know how I really feel about it. I understand you need to have new ideas come in and you need to have new people, but at the same time to have someone devote so much of their time to a company and to share a vision with that company to force them out, it feels like for new people to take their place. It doesn't seem right to dedicate that much time and then just be kicked to the curb.
Yeah, but that's corporations. Because Gail DeHaan, to me, it seems like from that first article, it said that HR constantly had a role in protecting these bad actors at Bungie. And if you're Bungie and you see that article and you knew that you were using HR in that way to protect yourselves, you're going to get rid of HR. You're going to get rid of the head to make sure like you're looking like, oh, we're stepping in a different direction, which sucks, but that's just capitalism, baby, and it sucks. And we just throw people under the bus for our own benefit constantly. And Bungie knew what they were doing. They knew that it would protect people. And now they're showing that they knew all along. And it's going to take some change for things to happen.
I also wouldn't say, though, that it's just capitalism because of that. It's just the people at the top, unfortunately, who are making that decision. Like, I think
the people who are making more money and who have the incumbency really at the top, like, yeah, they're making the decisions, and the people who are lower get stepped on, and that's what it is. Like, essentially,
in most cases, but not all cases, it's just because you don't have the right people at the top.
Yeah, and I think but this change would not have happened if this article did not come out last week, and that's what sucks because you have to have outside pressure for anything to ever change in this like scenario, despite all these people coming to HR and being like, hey, this guy was talking down on me, this guy changed my work, this guy, like, all this other stuff, that didn't matter. What mattered was the article finally coming out from IGN and people reading it.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Yeah. I think we should move on. I think we kind of gave everyone our opinions on that, got both sides of the story out.
Yeah. I am looking forward to hearing more though from Gail. Let's see if she says anything.
Yep. So let's move on to maybe a good thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing. I hope with my whole heart that this is a good thing. There's a Splinter Cell remake happening at Ubisoft. And this was rumored earlier. It might have been a new game. It might have been a remake. But now we know it's the first game being remade. And I don't know how to feel about this. I'm really hoping it's good.
So I've never played any of the Splinter Cell series. What has you hopeful about it, and what is also giving you stress about it? Why do you think it's going to?
So
Why do you think it's going to take off, and why do you think it might fail?
when the first Splinter Cell game came out, like Metal Gear Solid was a thing. The Metal Gear games were a thing. But Splinter Cell to me, like the tagline for Splinter Cell was stealth action redefined, and it really was that, because Sam Fisher, who's like this rugged sort of old white spy guy, he's the best. He's so good. He is just like, he's voiced by Michael Ironsides, and I don't know, I don't. The most iconic guy that he's voiced in my mind is like Darkseid in Superman the Animated Series, but he's just so good in the role. But anyways, like gameplay wise, it created this new lighting system on the Xbox, and it was just beautiful. Like you've actually felt like you were sticking to the shadows and moving your way through these levels, and like stealthfully and perfectly executing everything. Like it feels like the touchstone for every stealth game moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it all came to a culmination in Chaos Theory, because you had all these gadgets. You didn't just have like sticking to the shadows and sneaking behind someone and breaking their neck or interrogating them. You have like things like the optic cable, which you can stick under doors so you can see where people are, and then you have things like night vision, thermal vision, like mics that can pick up noise from over there so you can hear what they're talking about, so you can get the door code or whatever. Like there's so much to do in that game.
Many paths,
So many ways to approach things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like it's probably my favorite stealth game, Chaos Theory, aside from like maybe Dishonored, and even then I think it does some stuff better. And I just think that they can make Splinter Cell 1 on par with Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, or better if they remake it. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Ubisoft is known for their stealth games. With Splinter Cell, Dishonored, and they did Dishonored, right?
No, that was Arcane.
That was Arcane that did that one.
They did Assassin's Creed, and
well, I was gonna say Assassin's Creed too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Assassin's Creed has gone more from stealth to just straight up like every now and then you'll assassinate someone, but a lot of times it's just open combat now.
No, yeah, 100%. It's gone away from that for sure. Now it's an RPG where everyone has 2,000 health points and your swords do like 100.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, kind of unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Like I said, I never played any Splinter Cell, so hopefully Ubisoft does it right.
Yeah, and the reason that I'm like hesitant to be like Splinter Cell is because of their incredible microtransactions and monetization of their single player experiences, like Assassin's Creed, where you can buy level boosts, and their announcement of NFTs being a part of Ghost Recon,
so
and all these things. I just hope that they don't corrupt the spirit of Splinter Cell. Also, I feel like the spirit of Splinter Cell is corrupted with Splinter Cell Conviction and Splinter Cell Blacklist, which were two games that introduced this mechanic of execution. And if you got a melee kill on someone, you could just for free mark people and then execute them with a press of a button. And that shit is so stupid, because it just takes away any of the stakes. You can just press a button and kill everyone and then walk your way through. And then people were like, "Oh, Blacklist is a return to form because we're going through stealthily and stuff." But half of those missions are in the broad daylight, which sucks for a game like Splinter Cell, which really thrives on the lighting and stuff like that. And then when you explore and you find a different way to go, it gives you 100 points for exploration. And if you get 100 points for exploration or finding another path, that just takes me out of the game and says, oh, they wanted me to find this other path and like explore. So this isn't even really like a secondary path or something I found. It's just another completionist thing to do, which like sucks for me. I'd rather just take on the level how I want to without being told, oh, you did a good job for doing that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's like if you take that path towards another path, you get, I don't want to say 85%, but if you just took the first path, you get like 70% completionist, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
I can see how that's frustrating.
They had a rating system for like Panther and other things, like if you wanted to attack everyone or be stealthy, or Panther, Ghost, or something else. And it's like, I don't need that. I just need, tell me how many people detected me, how many people didn't, how many alarms to set off, or whatever, and that's cool. But yeah.
I think I want to, because you brought up Ubisoft with Splinter Cell, I want to talk about CD Projekt Red. We'll refer to them as CDPR going forward. But for those of you who don't know, last year they came out with a game that everyone has been looking forward to. I think 6 to 7 years at the point when it came out, called Cyberpunk 2077. And my God, did this game just suck. It was terrible. It could have been so much more, and they definitely screwed the pooch on this one. And the reason that Ubisoft made me think of them is because I was reading an article about how much CD Projekt Red made last year. They made $548.5 million US dollars. That's more than the revenue generated for Ubisoft from France, UK, and Germany combined, which was 525.28 million. And the reason that is so important is because recently there's a settlement agreement that's been, they haven't really agreed to it yet. They've agreed on amount, but no one's really like pushed it through yet. No one's signed anything, where they're going to be paying 1.85 million, I think, towards those who brought these allegations against them. There was 4 cases brought up that they combined into one, 2 of which were from, let me see if I can find it here. 2 of which were from LA-based the Shaw Law Firm and New York City-based Rosen Law Firm. And what's interesting is both firms pretty much had the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Not grammar, but like they use the same wordage in their lawsuits, and that's why they kind of combined them all into one. I don't know. I feel like the amount is way less than it should be. They had so many promises for launch that they weren't able to meet. A lot of people started buying into their stock because they kept hyping up how this game was going to be revolutionary, how it was going to change the way you saw a gaming world. Like, it was supposed to feel real. You were supposed to have interactions with NPCs and all kinds of stuff that they weren't able to hold up on. And they even had all the hype with Keanu Reeves playing, what was his character's names again? Jesse or Johnny
Silverhand.
Cage, or Johnny Silverhand. Johnny Cage, that's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
No, but I'm kind of frustrated. I feel like they should pay more than just 1.85, especially after making that much. Cyberpunk contributed to their sales being that high, for sure.
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I have this article from TechRaptor by Rhiannon Bevan, Every Unfulfilled Promise of Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but there are some real ones here. So first of all, a live city, NPCs with a handmade routine. In the E3 2018 trailer, we see like these monks and these other people sort of like watching them or heckling them. We see that you have like a ton of NPCs. Like, there were so many NPCs in like the trailers and like stuff that it looked like Night City was like an actual city. Like, it looked like a New York or a San Francisco. And we just did not get that. More like customizable V. with like apartments you could purchase. None of that. Combat features, they actually did say like a little bit before launch, oh, the wall running and stuff, that's not going to be a thing. But they still showed that in the trailers, and anyone who wasn't closely following Cyberpunk's like, or no, CD Projekt Red's dialogue, they wouldn't have seen that, and they probably would have just seen the trailer and been like, that looks cool, I want to play this game. The weather effects, like Night City should be rainy, it should be dark and neon drenched all the time. Not really the case. And
there were a lot of sunny days.
yeah, there's just a ton that's just not there. The sort of like from the demo, there was the ambush that you could have by like the med people that were like police also, and that thing looked awesome, and that just never happens in the game. Like it sucks. And then another thing is like the police. There was a quote from them in 2019, and they said, I would compare it to The Witcher 3, where if you chopped off the head of a villager in the middle of nowhere, the guards wouldn't show up out of nowhere. But if you're in a big town and someone from the guard sees you and the people nearby run away screaming for help, people will come and try to stop you. In in Cyberpunk 2077, those cops just show up out of nowhere, and you're screwed. That's a big letdown, and honestly, I don't think that's enough money either, especially considering Sony just pulled that game from their stores completely.
Yeah.
Like,
and they had to refund everyone too.
Yeah, this game was not playable if you were on last-gen consoles, and so many people are, because who's even able to find a PS5 or an Xbox Series X?
What really worries me about it is I'm afraid that once this is settled, and I'm seeing here that the plaintiffs in the case have until January 13th of this upcoming year, so 2022, to update on their approval of the settlement. So it hasn't been approved yet on the plaintiff side. So it could be they could change the number on it still, which I'm hoping they will. But the biggest thing for me is I feel like CDPR is going to either just chop it off before it gets to the rest of them, or chop off the game before it like makes the company worse or hurts it even more, or B, they're just not going to focus all of their resources onto making it the game it should have been.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they're going to be working on hot fixes and updates, but that they've already pushed the planned update optimizing the game for next gen consoles into 2022. Doesn't even have a date, it just says in 2022. So once this is settled, are they not going to follow up on that? Are they going to keep pushing it off? I don't know.
That's true. And to be completely fair, I will say Cyberpunk 2077 is a better game now than it was at launch, but it's still dog shit, in my opinion. Still not good. I mean, it's still not the game they promised. It's probably good in terms of like if you want an action game to just hop into and have fun in, but if you want like an immersive RPG sim like it was promised to be, you will not get that. You will not get meaningful choices. You will not get a feeling that you're changing the world. And I think that if you do want that game, I'm looking a lot into Dying Light 2, because it looks like a world you can actually change so far. But they could just be bamboozling me with the marketing, just like Cyberpunk 2077 did. But we'll see.
Gotcha.
Speaking of a company that is not going to bamboozle you with their marketing at all, Square Enix is taking sales of Final Fantasy XIV off of their storefront, off of any storefront, because people just want to play their games so damn bad.
It's a new golden age for Final Fantasy XIV. I saw an article that said that the player base is just too high, and that what they're doing. So they had a trial, I think, on Steam. They've taken the game off of Steam completely for now, but they had a trial basis for players on Steam, and they're giving them limited access. So early morning and late night, they're not able to play. So it's just like in the middle of the day, which everyone's at work at that point. And then they're trying to delay deliveries of physical copies to stores, which is crazy. That's crazy to me. Their game is doing so well that they're having to sabotage
their own supply chain.
Which I respect it, honestly, because they're trying to make sure that the players who already have access to it can enjoy the game that they bought.
Right.
Their servers are packed to the brim. They don't want people to feel like they, wasted their money on this game. So how else are they able to do that except for limiting the copies that they sell. I think what they're going to try to do is obviously add more servers so they can support a higher player base, but maybe they're just also trying to let people go through and play through the expansion, and then they'll be done with playing. They'll go on to the next game, and then those new players can come in. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I think you're right about that because the developers have pretty much, or I don't know, I think his name's Yoshida something. I have no idea, and I don't want to guess. Best not to guess. But basically, they have the mindset that it's just like, yeah, they'll come and they'll play the game, and we don't have any desire to keep them playing it for no reason if they don't want to play. Um, so yeah, I think that's their goal here. Is just let the people play, let them cycle out, and then there will definitely be people ready to pay good money for the expansion. That's just haven't gotten the chance to play yet.
Yeah, they're
And
good for them.
it's
Like
a very
I'm
good
glad.
problem to have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was when I first read it, I was thinking, man, like that's a questionable decision, but if you think on it really, like it's probably their best decision right now.
Yeah.
It'd be like if, oh, I guess it's kind of the same with consoles, yeah. The new generation of consoles are doing so well, but they're just so hard to find. Like
Yeah.
people are paying, what's the phrase? Hand over dollar or fist over dollar?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's that Fry meme from Futurama. Shut up and take my money.
Exactly. And it's such a great story, just in terms of Final Fantasy XIV's first year being like bad, so bad that they had to scrap the whole thing and rework everything.
Yeah.
And now they're the best MMO out there, arguably, and probably
Well,
definitively.
they won best community support, didn't they?
They did, yeah,
So yeah, they're doing something right.
they are. And our friend Colin, he's grinding away at that game. He was grinding to prepare for Endwalker, and I know he's excited to play it, and I know there are tons of people excited to play it. So it's a good
Has he been
story.
able to, or has he had trouble because of the limited access?
I don't think he's had too much time to game lately, so I don't think he's gotten into it. But I can't wait to hear from him, and maybe can have him as a co-host to tell us all about Final Fantasy XIV later on down the line.
Yeah.
But for now, that's all the news stories we have this past week. Let's be a little indulgent, Lane. Let's talk a little bit about Daredevil.
Not Yeah, Daredevil, not a video game, but a TV series, an amazing TV series.
Yep, and in
I've
keeping,
I was just gonna say I've only ever seen the first season. You've already watched it all, but yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it for sure. I haven't really been a big series person as far as superheroes go, especially with the Marvel universe. The cinematic universe is awesome, but I don't know, something about the TV series has never really caught my attention. I started watching it because you suggested it, honestly,
right?
and the first episode was crazy. It definitely it drew me in with how I don't really want to spoil anything, but just how dark it was. Like you
Right.
don't really see that in a lot of superhero stuff, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like. So I really like that aspect of it. I don't know. What got you into it? Did someone tell you to watch it, or were you just interested?
Uh, I watched the first two seasons, and I just want to say we're going to destroy all of our relevancy by talking about a 6-year-old first season of a show right now. But I don't care because it's Daredevil and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But what got me into it, I just watched the first two seasons. I was watching it as it came out, and I loved it. And then season 3 came out, and I just didn't watch it for some reason. But I recently rewatched all of it, and that show's probably one of my favorite shows ever. Um, what draws me into the world is Matt Murdock. His Charlie Cox's performance as Matt Murdock is insane. It's so good that like there's a society of blind people in America that like recognized him specifically for depicting blind like a blind performance so well, and that speaks volumes to his performance. Like just the way he gives like so much without ever really looking into the eyes of another actor is awesome. And also the one take action shots in that movie or in that series are just amazing. Like that first scene where he saves that boy
That was
from
one take.
yeah, yeah, that was
I
one
didn't know
take,
that.
and it's just beautiful. And there's just more and more like throughout the seasons that up the game so much, and that character's just so good. I kind of identify with him because I was raised Catholic. I am Catholic, and Matt Murdock's struggles are so
The
like
the
real.
inner turmoil that he faces throughout the first season is amazing.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not gonna go into details, but yeah, a lot of his religious beliefs and the way he was raised, especially by his father, and how he doesn't want to really be like him.
Let the devil out.
Yeah, he doesn't want to let the devil out,
Yeah.
as he says. It's just I don't know. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's cool.
And then you can't talk about Daredevil if you don't talk about Wilson Fisk. And Wilson Fisk is amazing. Vincent D'Onofrio is Wilson Fisk. When he
I don't know.
says, what's
He
that?
does. He does a really good job as playing Fisk, but every time I see him, I keep thinking of the guy from Full Metal Jacket, that and
Right,
Law and Order.
right, yeah. No, yeah,
It's
100%.
it's hard to see him as Fisk when I have those two images in my mind, but
one
he does it well. Yeah.
one of his performances that I just never like connected the dots until I saw it like in writing is that he was Edgar the Bug in Men in Black 1. I don't know if you've seen that. Um, but he's like the main bad guy in that, and he doesn't even look like himself.
They
But
also
yeah,
did a lot of CGI on his face, I think, or maybe it was just makeup.
it was just like a lot of makeup and prosthetics. But
Yeah.
in at the end of season 1, Daredevil, when Fisk is like, it means that I am not the Samaritan, that I'm not the priest or the Levite, and he says,
Oh yeah, telling that story.
I am the ill intent. I was like, holy shit, this is good.
Yeah.
Like this is
I
amazing.
want to know how he chooses his performance, so how he chose his speaking style for Fisk, because going through the series and seeing Fisk's backstory when you do watch it, if you haven't already, it feels like he either A just speaks the way he does because he has a traumatic past, or I'm wondering if B he has some form of like autism that makes him socially awkward.
I think he's like definitely got a developmental thing because like every time he looks in the mirror, he sees himself as a boy and
Hmm.
the bloodied boy, like he still is like a child. Like every time he like when he goes to have dinner with Vanessa and he gets the Zupa,
Yeah,
it's what he always had as a kid. It was his favorite. And
yeah. And she even brings that up. She says, "Isn't
yeah,
that for children?" And she
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
"Well, it's delicious."
Like he is a little man child, and that's the best part about it is that like he's this man child who's also the most cunning like person in this universe, and it's so good because he has this innocence about him, but he's also
Dark, just
yeah
so
ripping people's heads
dark.
off and awful, and like I don't know, there's something about him that makes him the most compelling villain, and I love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the next two seasons again. So I haven't started it yet. Don't really have the time at the moment, but once I do, it'll be good.
Yeah. Um. So in the future, Supercharged as a brand, uh, we want to do some things, and this is just my ideas. I don't know if I've told you all these yet, Lane, but I want to talk about them real quick. I mean we've talked a little bit about these.
We talked a little bit, yeah.
Supercharged network nexus, something that implies it's a larger thing. That's a goal. Um, we want to move on to like having a Twitch channel and maybe people that bear our name, for lack of a better term, streaming, and maybe we can organize like large streams where we all play the same game and have like the Supercharged network having like all of our streams live, and then you can tune into whatever one specifically if you want to.
Hmm.
Um, we can do things like that. I want to do other shows, like other podcasts like this, maybe where it's more conversational. Everyone brings a topic up and we all kind of delve deep into each of them.
Hmm.
Um, and it doesn't have to be like specifically about games. It can be entertainment, or it can be, anything. And then like I want to do like video reviews for video games. I want to
I think
have
that yeah, that would be a good one.
yeah, I think that would be really cool. And I kind of want to establish like a network of people that are engaged with this brand that we're building.
So when we were texting about it just the other day, I remember I said something about it being kind of like 100 Thieves, not in terms of like having an esports team or anything, but just, there's a group of people that are, when you think of that person, you think, oh, they're a part of the Supercharged network or Nexus or whatever we decide for the bigger picture.
Right.
So that was my whole thing going into it. We're starting off small right now with the podcast. I would like to bring more people into this podcast
Yeah.
because I think having the different dialogues and the different sense of humors, and it would just create more friction. It would create more opportunities to bring in more audience members. So I am looking forward to that. So look for that in the future, hopefully. And then, like you said, doing game reviews. I hadn't really thought about that, but that would be fun. But definitely the streaming thing. I want to stream with a group of people. And
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to do that, to go through and just. And it doesn't even have to all be like competitive. Like it doesn't have to be Apex. It doesn't have to be, dare I say, Call of Duty, because I hate Call of Duty. But it could be just fun games. There are plenty of games out there right now that I would love to play with pretty much everyone in our Discord, like Gang Beasts.
True.
Never played Gang Beasts, but I've seen all kinds of videos on it, and it looks hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's another one I was just thinking of. Oh, Crab Game.
Crab Game. Yeah.
I want to play Crab Game so bad, but just no one ever seems like they want to play it. Everyone we just kind of talk in the Discord and do our own thing. But I think
That's true,
I think if we could convince our friends to play those games with us and convince them to join, that this would really flourish.
Yeah, no, I think we certainly could. And like things like Fall Guys, Minecraft, like games where you just hang out and kind of vibe, those would be great for it. And then like a little Halo 2v2 or something, 4v4, anything like that would be fun.
Custom Halo games. Once they bring out Forge, we got to do that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be so fun. And then aside from that, I kind of want to do this is my own like pipe dream type beat. And I'm going to say type beat no matter how much
beat.
RJ gets on to me for it. But I want to restart my D&D campaign, and streaming that would be really cool. But we'll see about that. Aside from that, I think also like a digital front, like a web page for like written reviews or just news pieces or features.
That would be cool.
That's also a goal for us. But yeah, I don't want it to start and stop here.
For sure. No, I don't want to just do this. I want to do more with it.
Yeah.
But that's why we need y'all's help, viewers. Make sure you share, follow, tell your friends about us. Try to get us to grow. Noah, do you want to go into the Patreon or later on?
We'll do that later on. We don't have like anything set up yet. We're still working on sort of what the tiers will be, what the rewards for those tiers will be.
Sure.
But if you have any like things that you might want from us, leave a comment or email us at super.charge.pod@gmail.com or add us at vuvuzela21 on Twitter or Carnation __ gaming on Twitter also.
Yep. And I think that's all we've got for you today, guys. So again, thanks for listening. We definitely appreciate it. And we will see you next week on the Supercharged podcast. Take care.
Well, next week is Christmas.
We will see you the week after next week on the Supercharged podcast.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in.